Hello, everybody. Welcome to Amazing You Podcast, the platform where stories of resilience, transformation, and hope come to life. And I would like to say today a huge thank you to the audience who've been watching for the past 5.5 years. Please continue to listen, watch, share, and subscribe. And also to anybody who is new, welcome to the channel. And another big thank you to my team who works so hard behind the scenes. So thank you so much for the great work that you do. Without you and the audience, we wouldn't have the podcast and the YouTube channel. I am your host, everybody. My name is Dr. Rani Thanacoody. I am a clinical hypnotherapist, life and relationship coach, and energy healer. And today we have a truly inspiring and powerful guest joining us. Her name is Dr. Jacqueline Campbell. She brings a truly unique and powerful background to her work. A former U.S. Marine, conscious leadership strategist, author, and global speaker, she combines neuroscience, trauma recovery, and optimal performance strategies to help individuals so that they develop effective self-leadership and unlock their highest potential. Dr. Campbell has over 15 years of experience in the mental health field alongside years of global experience serving as a U.S. Marine and working security with federal agencies for diplomatic officials. Dr. Campbell offers a rare blend of scientific insight, life experience, courage, and deep transformational wisdom. Through her work, she challenges individuals and organizations to rethink emotional intelligence, leadership, healing, and human potential. Her message is authentic, inspiring, and calls for meaningful evolutionary change. So, very warm welcome, Dr. Campbell, to Amazing You. And it's such a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you, Dr. Rani. I really appreciate you having me. Appreciate the time.
It's thank you so much for being here and taking your time to be with the audience. And we had a conversation a few weeks ago, and it's really lovely to catch up with you again. We've
Yeah.
got so many things in common, the trauma work that you've been doing, and it's really amazing. And I
Yeah,
would,
I'm excited to see what we get in today for the audience.
yes. And I would like you to share with us, Dr. Campbell, your journey from being a U.S. Marine to becoming a leader in emotional intelligence and mental health. Can you tell us what inspired you on this path?
Well, thank you. Absolutely. It was actually a lot of pain because I didn't realize just how much trauma I had from my childhood that was projecting itself out in the military. I was cold, I was rough, I was aggressive and very dominant, and that didn't really resonate with me as a woman or as a mother. And so I started working on myself. And while I was taking college courses in psychology, really trying to understand what was inside me, then I started to realize neuroscience is definitely the key to rewire ourselves to deprogram what we don't want, what the world did to us, and then reprogram with what we ideally want. And then you end up discovering that we're pretty amazing underneath all that stuff, anyways. What we're trying to do is when we're healing, we don't realize our nervous system is actually trying to get us to be what we were originally designed to be. And every single one of us has that spark. So once I started tapping into that, I dove really, really deep into neuroscience and trauma recovery, spent 15 years in the mental health field, but a lot of really stressed out leaders started finding themselves coming to me. And that's what moved me into more of the public speaking and training space because corporate trainers, coaches, leaders, they are amazing at the trainings that they do, but if you don't optimize the human that's integrating the lessons, the information and the trainings, then it's not as effective. It's just like in the mental health field when you're doing talk therapy, it's on the higher cognitive level, so it doesn't get deep into the subconscious. And so, what we're needing to do is start at the subconscious level, the somatic level, which is in the body, to help people really transform. Then they don't actually feel like they're stuck because they're doing all the work. But then, when stress really hits, then it's like they fall back to their old programming, old stress related habits, addictions, mindsets, things like that. So, of course, it started with my own transformational journey.
Wow, what a journey you've been on. And you were talking about trauma, and you said you had experienced a lot of trauma. So, to help the audience to understand better, because I think some people might be new to the channel, can you tell us a bit more what kind of trauma you experienced and what tools did you use to start to heal yourself?
Right. It is important for the audience to know that there's a difference between big T's, which are physical, sexual, and violent traumas, and then little T's, which they're small traumas, but they're actually not in comparison to the nervous system. They're held the same way. But the small T's that people don't really think are traumas, they're emotional hurts, psychological wounding, things that even though it was just an emotional hurt when you were 6 years old and you had a crush on your classmate and they didn't like you, or you were picked on when you were 11, those things stick with us. And so when you're talking about healing your traumas, like I personally, I had generational trauma passed down from my great grandparents to my grandparents to my parents and then to us. Very violent. There was a lot of sexual dysfunction and so when physical, sexual, violent traumas are passed down, you tend to think everybody else is normal. I'm the one with the problem, right? So it was very, very insecure. Worth was psychological manipulation was used, not intentionally either. People don't know what they're doing because their trauma is still in them. So even though each generation got better and better and better, we're still all doing the best that we can with what we have at the time that we have it. Because even when I look back at my daughter, she was the oldest, and I'm like, I still did not do as much as I could have. I could have done so much better. And so I still apologize to her. She's 22 now, and she's like, "No, you were changing. It's okay. It's good. Like you did a good job." And I still feel bad, but I had to heal from those wounds. So when I'm working with people or especially in a leadership development space that they're like, "I don't have any traumas." And I'm like, "Okay, well, nobody had a perfect parent." And when we use their nervous system to identify in their childhood or earlier years what feeder memories are still in them, the emotional landmines in our body, they always find them. There's always stuff.
I completely agree with you that we all have traumas, whether it's big or small. We all experience childhood issues, but some of us have it more than others, and we also carry it in the work that I do as well. We do similar work where we find it in our ancestral patterns, ancestral lineage, and even in our past lives. I've done past life
Yep.
regression, and I've seen how much of our past life we are trying to resolve in this lifetime. So it's very deep, the work that you do, and it's really wonderful to see that how you go also to the subconscious, because just looking at it on the surface, it will definitely come back whenever there's another trigger, whenever there's another experience, another traumatic experience that happens. Or it
Mhm.
can be just somebody talking to us can trigger something as well. I've seen that when we still have wounds to heal. And and I think that's really, really important when you talk of the subconscious level, because that's where we store all these information. So can you tell us a bit more about how you do that work, about helping the leaders at the subconscious level, because that's so important. The leaders are the people that needs to be helped first, because they are the ones who have a huge responsibility of people below them, around them, and that they interact with. So can you tell us a bit more about that?
Absolutely. And earlier you had asked me what techniques I used on myself to recover, and I did use past life regression, energy psychology, energy clearing, of course, plenty of somatic work,
Mm-hmm.
working just with the body, yoga, breath work, meditation. I did self-hypnosis, and then EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and
Mm-hmm.
reprocessing, and then brain spotting, which is I utilized a combination of EMDR and brain spotting. Though both of those, for anybody who doesn't understand what those ones are, they use your optical nerve to connect to the rest of your nervous system. Your nervous system is your brain and your spinal cord, and this system filters all of your senses. So it's actually your experience in life, your experience externally for what you think is your reality, and then your experience for yourself. So your view of yourself. And so when you change this from the inside using your optical nerves, you actually start to see a completely different reality, right? But I experienced the same when it comes to past life regression hypnosis. That actually gave me a lot of access on the soul level because I had been in the mental health field for 15 years. I had never heard of soul healing. And I'm thinking there's more. And it gets so deep, so deep. For
Mm-hmm.
anybody who has not done it, I definitely suggest it. But you have to understand there's a difference between higher level soul healing and what I call on the human realm, the
Yes.
human healing, right? So
Absolutely.
definitely take your time. There's a lot. You're not going to get it all done in one life. But so when I moved into the corporate space, I use a couple of actually three main techniques that I always go to. It depends on the individual if I'm working one on
Mm.
one, but in a group setting, I always use cognitive processing, which is a combination of what I learned with EMDR
Okay.
and brain spotting, which is, of course, using your optical nerves to organize your nervous system from the inside. The second one is another technique that I reworked it a little bit because I got trained in past life regression as well. And I created more of it's a visualization. You get taken down into hypnosis, and then you go back to an earlier time in your life and you
Mhm.
rework that memory.
Yeah.
So in the nervous system, it's kind of like a domino effect. You get the past memory, and then it goes,
Yeah.
and it starts neurologically healing other connected information in the body. And then there's one other breathing technique. It's still a visualization, but breath work is so impactful when it comes to decompressing the nervous system, opening up the brain, and it's heart focused breathing. And Heart Math is really an impactful organization. I constantly follow their work, but they created the heart lock in technique. And I just do regular heart focused breathing, but they are very specific in how they do their technique. And it's great. Anybody can look it up on YouTube. But the concept is increasing heart brain coherence and heart rate variability, which helps your nervous system and all the other organs in your body start to shift around your heart because your heart really should be the center, kind of like the sun in the center of our universe.
Yes.
If everything's in alignment according to the heart, everything's healthier, you're optimized, you think clearer, and your electromagnetic frequency, it affects in a positive way, it affects the people around you. So in a group setting, when I'm doing corporate training, that's primarily those are the techniques that I use.
Wow. I love the work that you do,
Thank
the
you.
modalities that you use, because I'm very familiar. I'm familiar to the heart math,
Yeah.
to working with the heart coherence. I am working a lot more with the heart coherence for myself now, and the soul healing as well. This is another deep one, very at another level, this kind of healing. But I think it's healing, it's a lifelong journey of as we do that more, we are able to rediscover ourselves, get to understand a deeper part of ourselves. Yeah. And yes, I think the work that you do is very, very impactful on those leaders. And I would like you to tell us a bit more about, because you work on emotional intelligence with those leaders. And for anybody who is new today, what, and if the first time they hear emotional intelligence, what does it mean in practical life, in everyday life, Dr. Jacqueline?
Thank you for that question because a lot of people are very confused. They
Mm-hmm.
think that it tends to be just empathy. You have to be softer. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not what emotional intelligence is. It's actually a combination of two things. It is containing your emotions when you need to, which is actually the left hemisphere of your brain, because it is more logical, and the right hemisphere, which is more emotional. It's creative, but it's also slower because it pays so much attention to details. And when you are emotionally intelligent, you have access to both. So it's more of an evolved person, and this is the reason why I'm wanting to revolutionize emotional intelligent leadership, because it doesn't make them soft. It
Mm.
makes them strong in a very confident and an emotionally intelligent way. So you can be attentive to yourself, your needs, your emotions, also your limitations, but also those of others. But you can still make sure that you are focused and disciplined. And when boundaries need to be set, you can set those boundaries so you can be firm and confident, because it doesn't, a lot of people think, well, you need to perform better, and those make better leaders because they do their job better. But that means you're a performer. That doesn't
Mm.
necessarily mean that you're a leader. A leader is more of somebody who takes a step back and
Mm.
observes the whole and can do both. I want to say resources from both hemispheres of the brain, the logical and the emotional part.
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that. I think that's very helpful to understand because we tend to understand it more from the softer side, from just the empathy, but it's a lot more, much deeper than that, as you've just explained. And when we talk about leaders, how do you help those leaders develop greater emotional intelligence and self-awareness? Because nowadays we see all those leaders. I have seen so many of those leaders. When I look at them now, I can see that they haven't done much healing, much work on themselves, and they are just in leadership positions. So, how can those leaders start to develop their own emotional intelligence and awareness?
Well, how I teach is very different than
Mm-hmm.
the average teaching, because I am no better. I am a human. I mess up all the time, and I still have plenty of healing to do. But I know neuroscience, and I know the divine is perfect, and it created you to listen to it and follow its guidance. So that's why all of my techniques are very oriented to letting the nervous system drive. So I'm really not much of a coach. I'm more of a trainer teaching you how to use the coach, which is inside you. However, if anybody wants to, begin working right now on themselves, but they're like, how do I listen to my nervous system to train me how to, evolve as a human? Sitting in silence would have to be the number one priority. If you learn to sit with yourself, you'll start to hear yourself talk. And you might not like what you have to say to yourself. And then you start to argue with yourself. But the thing is, if you don't sit for long enough, then that clutter, it's cognitive junk. Like it's just cognitive fog. It's trying to reprocess, it's trying to distract, and it starts to settle. And then as it gets quiet, you start to get more clarity. That is not only where it's going to give you insights to solve the problems that you're needing to, but it's going to give you more clarity on the things that you're needing to heal. So it's going to tell you where the big problems are. You just have to listen to it.
I love that, Dr. Jacqueline, because in this day and age, we are so busy running around, going everywhere, and spending so much time on the mobile that we forgot who we are. We forgot to give ourselves that quiet space. I love that practice. And I love doing that as well because it's really connecting with yourself, and that's how you can start to heal yourself by creating that connection in quiet time. And that carries a lot of wisdom because that's when you start to get downloads of information. You start to feel more balanced, calm your nervous system. That's really powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Absolutely.
And I would like you to share with us, what do you see from the work you've been doing are some of the common emotional patterns or blind spots that hold people back from reaching their potential, Dr. Jacqueline?
There's so many.
Mm.
The common patterns and blind spots definitely are defenders. that they tell us that we're fine, that we don't need to look, we don't need to keep digging. We're healed with a past tense healed. They're complete liars. There's always something to work on, even if you're just installing peace and joy and stillness, like you're still working on something, but our defenders, our saboteurs, they try to keep us, and what that is it's blocking us from being able to fully see ourselves because it's either scared of you seeing how amazing you are or scared of seeing how much healing you have because it would feel fear and shame as it uncovered that stuff. Um, and unfortunately, two other primary blind spots that I see are the people that are around us. Unfortunately, we have, it's not unfortunate, but it's unfortunate that we don't know. We have mirror neurons in our brain. When we're watching people, our brain is integrating information. So if we're around a negative group, if we're in a negative environment, let's say it's your work or your extended family or whatever the case, we're consistently feeding negativity back into our brain. So we have to separate ourselves to be around people that we can be, let's say, more authentic with. We can have more raw, open conversations. They're also healing and doing the work, and they're trying. But if we're around negativity and they're really not trying, we have to separate. So it's trying, the saboteurs in those situations are the ones keeping us attached, so detaching is part of that. And the other thing that I still struggle with this, it's a great disappointment for me because it happened in my life and it's happened in the lives of a lot of my clients. But healing can actually heal you out of relationships because of the environments. So having partners who are really, one of them is working on themselves, the other one is not, but you want to stay married and you want to keep it together for the family and because you truly do love that person, nobody can make anybody else heal, especially after you've started doing a lot of the human healing. You're going to naturally gravitate towards the soul healing because the soul knows you're on a trajectory of ascending. And so, as your consciousness increases, your vibration increases, your awareness increases, then you actually start more disconnecting from that person that you love and you want to stay with, and so it's like this unfortunate decision. Do I halt my progress and stay, or do I leave and choose my soul because my soul's on this trajectory? So that's another one that's really, really hard. And it's good for people to know that when and if that comes up, that it is part of the process.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Jacqueline. Yes, that's a very important point that you made because at this time, s- a lot of couples, one partner is doing the work and the other is not able to catch up. And that's when this it's very difficult for them. Then they start to drift apart. And I recently talked to a lady. She was telling me that she did so much work on herself, but her husband is so resistant. He's not willing. He's not. He's not yet ready. It's at his own time, and she's so worried about it. So that's very important for couples to be aware that when you start to raise your level of consciousness, it doesn't mean that the other person, you can't force the other person. It has to be at their own time. And life is like that. We are, though we like each other, but we all have our different soul journey.
Right.
And people will come and go in our life, but we have to go where our soul leads us to our destination, wherever that, until we leave this earth. So
Right.
I think that's really a great point that you made for people to be more aware that things are shifting, even in relationships, how we see our relationships, and it's about being compassionate in those times, with our spouse, friends. And it happens. I love that you say that it happens to couples, but also when you ascend, you see your circle, your network changing, shifting a lot. I'm sure you would have experienced that. And can you tell us a bit more about how did that feel and
Mhm.
what happened after that change of people leaving your life? Anything you would like to tell us about that?
Sure. One, it's hard.
Mm,
And it still gradually happens, you know, and this isn't to, for anybody listening, this isn't to say that you're better,
mm.
right? At all. Actually, you have less of an ego as this starts happening. You become way more humble because it hurts to
Yeah.
choose yourself. And some people may not understand, so they call you selfish, they call you, you know, arrogant or egotistical, and you're just trying to do what's best for yourself. So you actually stop sticking up for yourself
Mm,
more and more because you don't need to explain yourself. Um, I can speak for myself and for the clients that I've worked with that that's the case. But what it did was once I detached from the people that were not able to or not ready to work on themselves, it got very quiet and very lonely. And I realized a lot of when I was tired, I was very, very tired because I did a lot of healing and I needed to kind of decide what I was going to do with my life, what direction I wanted to go, what people I really wanted in my life, even though I was still grieving the lost ones. So there was an extended period of time, it was a few years that I just had very, very minimal contact. I still went to work, still had friends and family periodically
mm,
checking in. Um, but then I started gravitating, and this is where they talk about soul families,
mhm,
where your soul knows where it's going. And sometimes we need that rest period. That if it happens to you, because there was parts that I felt like I was trapped, or if you decide to do it because you're tired and you want that isolation, which is actually a recovery period. It's not necessarily unhealthy
mm,
isolation. And you'll know, right? Like you just have to have your own discernment. But then you start to notice that there's a little bit of light, you start to feel a little bit more energized, and you really, really resonate where some person, it could be a cashier or it could be somebody on a podcast, or you could read a book and then, you know, go to a grocery store. Like then you start gravitating to these people and these things and these environments and it lights you up and it fills you and you're like, you get me,
mm.
you see me,
Yeah.
and it's okay. Those soul ties, it could be 5 minutes or you could start a best friend relationship for the rest of your life. The point is you know the difference, because then when you're around people, places, and things that pull you down, they lower your energy, and they make you feel like you want to, you know, get small or need to get smaller, then you know
Mm,
that's just not the place for you. So you limit that. And so it's kind of like the separation happens, this period of integration, and then you start to move forward. And what I found, and I actually haven't talked to a lot of clients about this, it's just my own personal journey. So I'd love to know your take. There are some people after you've completely been okay, it's like accepting that the people that you like left behind, that they're just walking their journey and it may or may not catch up to yours, or you might be in different paths or whatever. It's like complete acceptance. I've noticed some of them coming back around and they're completely different. So
mm.
who knows who was actually healing me or them at that time, right? And I'm just like so happy you're here, right? How have you experienced any of that?
I have. I am still experiencing that. And I tell you, it is not an easy time. But the people that are coming, the like-minded soul that are coming are so, so nice, so, so comfortable. So it's like as if we've known each other for years. And just like talking to you, I can relate so much to everything that you are saying. It's like, yes, now I am in the right place at the right time, you know? So it's really worth it, everybody. Though it's a lot of work to do the inner work, but when you come out on the other side, the people that you meet, the things that you will see happening in your life, the synchronicities, it's really magical. So there are so many stories I can tell, but I think we'll have another time to talk to Dr. Jacqueline again because it's such an interesting conversation, Dr. Jacqueline. I love that. I love that, what everything that you are sharing today. And Dr. Jacqueline, for somebody today who is listening to us and who is feeling emotionally overwhelmed or stuck, what would you recommend for them? What is the first step that they can start doing?
That is a great question because there is so many things you can do. Everybody will say different things. What I've found though is some quiet time alone. And if you sit in silence, like we were talking about before, but your diet has already been detoxed, like let's say you fast, if you have doctor's approval, you feel comfortable with your health, And then drinking quality spring water or alkaline water. The reason why I emphasize diet and water is because if you don't have those inside you, then and you just drink water, perfect timing. Product placement. If you don't have what your body needs in terms of diet and water, then your mind's not going to get as much
Mm.
clarity. So if you detox to get your body cleansed, so I would do maybe a 24-hour fast, make sure you're super hydrated, and then sit down for a couple of hours and just usually if you cannot make your mind quiet, going out in nature, trees, sitting next to a pond, and then see what surfaces. Just observe what happens. Keep a journal next to you and see what it shows you because our nervous system and our soul, they are constantly wanting to talk to us. But if we don't cleanse, if we don't detox and then get away from all the noise, then we can't listen, we can't hear it. And so, usually, if we are that overwhelmed, we can't even see what the problem is. We think we can, but it's just too cluttered.
Yeah, that's so true. And looking at our diet is so important. It's not only clearing the emotions, but it's like we have to do a body, mind, and soul healing. It's everything. It's a holistic approach. And I love that. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And I know that you work with a lot of leaders, you've been telling us. So, how can individuals begin to heal their emotional wounds while still performing in very demanding careers or leadership roles, Dr. Jacqueline?
Good point. Because we can't just, I am guilty of this. I turn my phone off and people get mad. I check my emails once a day and people get mad. The point is, we still have to be available,
Mm,
right? We still have to function, we still have to do work. But if you don't have some kind of practice, I personally have 3 times a day that I ground myself. I do visualizations first thing in the morning, followed by a little bit of a journaling at noon, right after my shower. I take a shower and all that, and I sit, before I actually go back to work, because I work a lot first thing in the morning. But then I do a breath work followed by a 10-minute silent meditation. And then at nighttime, I do another breath work. This is where I do my heart focused breathing. But those are the 3 times, no matter what's going on in my life, no matter how overwhelmed I am, or no matter how much I don't want to do it. Like
mm,
those are the things. If I do feel like, no, I don't want to do it, I just don't have it in me, I just shorten the time a little bit, but I
mm.
still do it. Those are the types of things I call them lifelines now because they keep me balanced when life is hard because life will go up and down and it will test us. So as long as you have that self-care regimen, besides my daily, I would definitely suggest doing something weekly and then doing something bi-weekly, monthly, and then quarterly. Whatever that is, get it set and then stick to it like it's paying you money to be there.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. It's
Sure.
very much about consistency and
Yeah.
to be and to continue to do it. It's so so important at this time, most specifically at this time when there is so much going on, so much on in the outside world happening that whether we like it or not, it can have an impact on us in our energy level. So I think keeping our energy high, those practices are really, really very important. I have increased mine, Dr. Jacqueline, as well. I've been doing a lot more of my practices even throughout the day, and I found them so, so, so helpful. Yeah,
Yes. And
totally resonate with me.
right. Maybe there's actually something I feel like that happens too when you said, well, this week just seems to be a harder week. For me, this week is also a harder week. So I feel like the more you're open and honest with people too, you
Mm,
find out, okay, so it's not just me. Right? Like there is something energetically going on. Who knows if we ever figure it out because it could be different things. But
yes,
it helps.
yes, that's so, so true. Yes, thank you. And Dr. Jacqueline, you were talking about human potential. And what do you think prevent most people from stepping into their own greatness?
Ooh, this is a good one. Because, and of course, this is my own journey. And
Yes.
then with what I've experienced with my clients, I feel like we are so scared of being so powerful.
Mm.
We act like we want money and power and status, but when we are tempted with real power, which is coming from our soul, we get small.
Mm.
We get very quiet. We're like, oh, just kidding. Never mind. I didn't want that. Right? Because it is huge. The human level, or on the human realm, what we think is powerful, it's not. It's
Mm-mm.
completely fake. Right? The soul level, that is huge. And that is actually very, very intimidating to other people and us. So I feel like that's why we get scared of ourselves.
Yes, definitely. The fears that people have within themselves, it's really huge, yes. And once we overcome the fears, it's like it's like opportunities start to flourish, start to come our way. Yes, 100% agree. Yeah. Conquering our fears because fears are, they call it, they say it's false something appearing real. Do you know that one?
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, I can't remember it, the exact words. It's false something appearing real. Yeah. And Dr. Jacqueline, can you tell us what does conscious leadership mean to you?
Mm. To me, conscious
Mm,
leadership is being aware and attentive of your own issues as a leader so that you can be aware and attentive to the issues of others. So,
mm,
what we do to ourselves, we naturally project to other people. So, if you take care of yourself, if you're aware of yourself, if you understand and have compassion and have grace, but also set boundaries, right? So you hold yourself accountable, like all of those beautiful, wonderful things, when you do them to yourself intentionally, then they can be done with grace to other people. But if you're not doing it to yourself, you're naturally going to be more defensive, more irritable, less patient. You're not going to have active listening. So you're going to naturally make bad decisions and you're going to hurt people
mm.
around you. So when you are just aware and attentive to yourself, it naturally flows out of you.
Yes, that's so true. Because so many leaders, they don't take the time to look within themselves.
Right.
Yes. And they try to fix everything outside, but not giving enough time for them to see what's going on within them. Yes. And for any leaders where they have to inspire confidence, you know, how can those such leaders be in a position where they can inspire more confidence rather than fear in their teams and organization at this time? Because we hear a lot of companies are facing huge challenges, bankruptcy, and how can those leaders show inspire more confidence?
That is beautiful because you are absolutely right.
Mm.
I have a friend who does deep research in
Mm.
conscious capitalism and conscious consumerism.
Wow.
What she said was the majority of businesses that were traditional and they had a hierarchy of power and control, and a lot of them were driven off of money, right? Like
Yes.
getting a higher ROI, which is actually, for those who aren't familiar with business terms, it's called your return on your investment,
Yeah.
which means it's all about the money. Now, within the last few decades, there's been a huge shift in what the cultures are requiring because the new generations, they make fun of them because they feel their emotions and they make demands, they're entitled, they're lazy. They can feel their emotions. And these people are demanding that they have rights and a voice.
Yes.
I'm not saying to baby everybody, and I don't believe in being lazy. I'm actually a very hard worker, but I do believe in being conscious. And what she said is impact driven businesses who focus on conscious capitalism, which is taking care of the environment and taking care of their people, they are skyrocketing, especially after COVID. All the other businesses, the traditional style, they're all tanking. That tells you a lot about this generation right now. You have to get on board. So,
Yes.
what I would tell leaders, if they want to inspire their leaders, especially if they are inside a traditional culture, they have to advocate for emotional intelligence. because it is taking over. Whether you like it or not, it's here
Mm.
and it's not going away. If anything, it's getting stronger.
Yes, and it will get more and more stronger because I love this new generation. I work with them and I have seen, I tell you, it's like they can, they are, they are not in their head so much as the previous generation. They are so much into their heart and they can feel. And I've seen them. It's like it's so beautiful to see how they don't need to do that much work as we needed to do. They came with a more open heart with having done already so much healing in their previous lifetime, so they are much more open when they come. They can feel. They are very intuitive. You don't need to tell them a lot, but they are very good and at observing and at asking for what they want. And they are right to ask for what they want because so many of us previously we have our voices have been suppressed. So it's so beautiful to see this generation, they are able to speak up. Oh, I love working with them. I tell you, I see such a difference. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I know a lot of people don't like them, but I really enjoyed them because I learn from them. I learn and I observe them. I really admire them. Yes, yeah, yeah.
I'm so glad that you said that you learn from them and you admire them because I feel like people do the same thing with their children.
Yeah.
They suppress their voice, they want to control them, do what you're told. And I'm like, they are so much smarter than us.
Yes.
Because, like you said, we have so much mental chatter, and it's causing confusion with our identities, and we don't know how to use our voice. There's so many limiting beliefs, and they are very intuitive and so creative. So if you take it as, no, we're not doing this hierarchy thing anymore. We're going to be equals, respect them because they're a human,
Mm.
and they will naturally respect you because you're a human. If you
Yes.
try it and it's authentic, you'll find out that's exactly what they're needing. They just want to be treated like they're a human.
Yes, yeah. And they can feel it, I tell you. They are so smart, so smart. I found them very, very smart. Yes, I love them. I've been seeing how, because I've been teaching for 20 years, I see how the cohort are changing. The students are becoming more intuitive. It's like they are not as naive as my generation. We accepted everything, we never asked for things. We just accepted what the school was saying, the university was saying. But these ones, they know who they are and they know what they are here for. So I'm really glad that they are here to create a better world. Yes.
Exactly. And that's
Yes,
what I would say too. It might be scary because it's changed, but it's helping everybody.
it is. It is. I think we need that transformation to have a better place, a better world. Transformation needs to happen. The shedding needs to happen. The falling of the tower needs to happen, like in the tarot cards. The tower needs to fall and break down completely because, like Bob Proctor said, you cannot build with an old model. You have to make it obsolete to build a new model.
I had a vision, and I'm
Mm,
not a, every once in a while in my dreams I'll get something, but I had one. It was very, very obvious to me right when COVID happened. I was on this hill
right.
looking out over what looked like the world, right? But it was just buildings, right? Business buildings. There was a McDonald's, there was like a Chili's. And so I could see it, but the representation was this is the world as you know it. And there was this huge bulldozer, and it
Mm,
came in and started destroying the buildings. And I'm thinking, what are you doing to the world? And of course, my higher guidance, whatever was with me at the time of the vision,
mm,
it took a piece of the McDonald's and it put it back on, and it was nicer and it was prettier, and it said we're reconstructing. So as it's putting things back together, and I'm thinking, okay, so what you're telling me is everything is about to be destroyed, but don't worry, it's going to be okay. It's going to be better, right? And lo and behold, within a few months, COVID happened, and I don't know about you, but my life has not been the same, and I haven't talked to one person's life who has been the same.
and that is really, really, really true because everybody's life has changed in some way or another with COVID. And I've been listening to a lot of videos and podcasts by spiritual teachers, and they are saying that COVID was just a preparation
Mm.
to getting us to what is coming now, because now there's a lot of things happening and really testing us at this time. And when I think about it, I realize absolutely COVID was just a preparation, because now it is really everything is coming to is happening at the same time. So we need to be very resilient, very strong, very focused, and continue to work on ourselves, because when we are deeply rooted in who we are, that's when we can bring the transformation in the
Absolutely.
people around us. Yeah,
And we are transforming together too.
we are, because we are all connected. We can feel each other. So when one person is transforming, it is having ripple effect and it's helping others to transform. Yeah. And another two questions, Dr. Jacqueline. We have to finish soon, and it's been such a lovely conversation, such a wonderful conversation with you. Can you tell us a bit more how to connect with you, and how can the audience learn more about your work?
Absolutely. So if they go to my website, Dr. Jacqueline Campbell, there's actually two Dr. Jacqueline Campbells. One of them, I can't remember the university she's with, but she deals with domestic violence. She's older. And so go to the one where it's a drjacquelinecampbell.com. And I'm on the front. It's me with a microphone with a red dress. So that's how you notice the difference, because I have a lot of people like, I didn't know you were so old. And I'm like, I'm not. I'm quite young. Or you can find me. I'm actually on most social medias, Facebook, Instagram. Those ones are my business page, Vision Expansio, though. And the place that I mostly engage, especially if somebody wants to work with me individually or a leader for an organization, on LinkedIn. So Dr. Jacqueline Campbell, ND, LPC-S, and you'll be able to find me there.
All right. So your web links will appear on the video and also in the description on the podcast and the YouTube, so anybody can connect with Dr. Jacqueline. And I think you've got a podcast as well, Dr. Jacqueline. I saw it on YouTube. Is that correct?
Yes, it's called Resilient Minds, Stories of Grit, Growth, and Success. And the goal is to help people who are still struggling with their healing journey. A lot of them are business owners, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You just have to work on yourself to get to the other side. Because even if money comes in, it's not going to make you fulfilled. So we talk about the deeper healing.
That's fantastic. So everybody feel free to connect with Dr. Jacqueline podcast, and I subscribe today. So it's a wonderful channel. I've been looking at the guests you've been having. So it's some great conversation. So please feel free to subscribe as well, everyone. And Dr. Jacqueline, my final message for you is what final words or message that you would like to leave our audience today about healing, emotional intelligence, and living with purpose?
Right, I love that. Especially the purpose part, because a lot of individuals, and I myself, every once in a while it comes up, because it's so hard. The consistent healing. One, you can take a break, and it's okay to pause and rest and take care of yourself, but we are all connected, every single one of us. Like you said, um, when you realize that how important you are, then you will start taking better care of yourself. You will start focusing on your energy, your healing, and the people who are around you start having more compassion. So just knowing how important you are to give yourself grace, I would say that's the most important throughout the healing process.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Jacqueline. Thank you so much. And giving ourselves grace and compassion is so important in the healing work, because we very often I hear with my clients how the words we say to ourselves, we are not always very kind to ourselves. So I think we have to be kind to ourselves so that others can see that we are kind and be kind to ourselves, be kind to us. So I think we are a reflection of our outer world. So we have to start to be kind to ourselves on that journey of healing anytime on the journey, because things will happen and we need to really take care of ourselves and love ourselves. So thank you, Dr. Jacqueline, for this enlightening conversation and for opening your heart, for sharing with us. I would like to wish you a lot of success with your podcast, with your work, and with your future projects. I'm sure you've got a lot of things coming.
Mhm.
And thank you to the audience for watching, for sharing, and subscribing. And remember that you are amazing. You have always been amazing, and you always will be amazing. So take care, everybody. Bye
Thank you.
bye.